Hey guys, what's going on? It's John, Gamester81. This video I wanted to review the SD2SNES flash cart by Stone Age Gamer. This is part of their EverDrive line of games. I've done reviews over other EverDrive carts, including the TurboGrafx 16, Nintendo 64, Game Boy, there's a Sega Genesis one. You name it for a console, they pretty much have it. For those who may not know what a flash cart is, basically it enables you to load ROMs onto an SD card through your cart, so you can play ROMs to your cart on the actual hardware. So it really is an emulation because it's actually playing on the original hardware. There's definitely some pros to that, of course, meaning you can play games that are fans translated that never came out in North America on your actual console. It is region free, which is nice. With this particular set, you can actually customize the cart color, which is really sweet. You can customize the label variation, a lot of cool things you can do. I guess the downside is these aren't cheap carts. So I'll put a link below to Stone Age Gamer below. But if you think what you get, you can pretty much play any NES game you want. There are options to actually film. There's actually some updates you can add where you can do Game Genie codes and you can actually autosave as well, kind of like similar to an emulator, I suppose, in that regard. So you have the benefits of an emulator, but you also have the benefits of playing on the actual hardware. So of course there's controversy and people are like, oh, well, I prefer the original hardware, or I prefer the original game. This is true. Of course, I prefer having the original cartridge as well. Having these carts hasn't slowed my collecting down. Don't worry. I prefer having a physical cartridge, all that good stuff. But these are nice for games that are, if you're, for example, I make new games for the Super Nintendo, and now I can actually test these games on the original hardware, which is great. You can play games that are hacks or fan translations, or games that are simply out of your price tag to purchase, because let's face it, some games can get very, very expensive. So definitely some benefits. So I'm going to show you kind of what's included with this set. I'll show you, of course, how this thing sets up and how it goes, the menu, and how it loads games. It works really, really fast. It's compatible, as far as I know, with every game. I have not had any issues with any games not loading. If there ever is an issue, it's most likely the ROM, not this cart. So let me know what you guys think. We'll take a closer look, and thanks for watching. So here is a closer look at the box and the cart itself. I can tell you, Stone Age Gamer, I've been working with them and getting their products for years now. I can tell you their products are top notch, no doubt. So you get a nice clamshell case on the back. You get a certificate product, a certified product rather. Talks about you can load games almost instantly, and that is definitely true. Easy to use operating system. Supports larger size games up to 128 megabytes, which is nice. Most powerful Super Nintendo, Super Famicom flash cart in the world. Plays games no other flash cart can. Upgrade firmware with ease, no extra hardware required. So you can go to our website, get firmware updates I mentioned before. So some of their updates include Game Genie codes, all that good stuff. So let's open this up. So here is the manual itself, and kind of tells you about the basic controls, main menu, any errors you may get, ROM incompatibility. So for example, Super FX games, will not work on those. Okay, OBC1 games, ST0818 games, all that good stuff, okay? Here are other EverDrives. So you have a Mega EverDrive. This is EverDrive's Game Gear EverDrive 64. This is for the Genesis. And Gaming Devolve, that's their slogan, okay? It does come with some bumper stickers, Stone Age Gamer sticker, as well as a sticker right there. And here is the cart. You can choose your own cart, what color cart you want. This is kind of a transparent one, which is really sweet. And this is where the SD card plugs into. You just push down on it and it pops up really easy. It does have a thing here so you can actually hook it up for kind of a dev purposes, I suppose, which is nice. That is not on the first version that they have. So that is definitely new. And here is the back. It's cool that you can see the board, which is sweet. I actually like it. You actually have the battery there as well. So you can save for the battery save feature. So let's take a closer look, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know what's your favorite Super Nintendo game. Please leave a comment below. Do you guys have any flash carts? Let me know. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks, guys. So here's a menu screen. You basically can create folders on your computer. You basically put it on your SD card, and you can load ROMs and just copy and paste it over. Pretty simple. One thing I mentioned too before, I kind of alluded to, is a lot of the games you're able to play on this cart that you wouldn't necessarily be able to play on your Super Nintendo. This is an example. This is F-Zero with updated CD audio is what they say it. Various folders, various alphabetical ones. These are actually games for the Super System, which is an arcade that came out for a demo, kind of similar to the PlayStation 10, if you've ever played that. They're not real much different. Here is some beta games. These are games that earlier development that early on when the games were developing, these were the beta games, basically. This is Contra 4, although actually when it was released, it was Contra 3. So that's the only really difference I see between this version and the release version, but it does say Contra 4, the Alien Wars. This is actually a really fun game by Konami. If you enjoy the original Contra games for the NES or even the arcade, this is one to definitely check out. A must-own for the Super Nintendo, in my opinion. Love the music and sound. Going to move on here. These are some demo games. Actually, demos are ROMs that you're not necessarily able to play. Here's one I'm going to show you. This is a Squaresoft one. So this is kind of demoing the Mode 7, which to me really separated the Super Nintendo from the Genesis. The Mode 7 was awesome, and I thought a lot of the games that they used did a great job utilizing Mode 7. So some games that Squaresoft used, for example, using Mode 7 were Final Fantasy 3, I believe was one of the games that they came out with, among others. Awesome demo here. Really cool to see that. You can kind of zoom in and zoom out. We have hacks. So these are fans who basically take games and hack it. Look at all these Super Mario World hacks. Pretty awesome. I'm going to show you, I don't have time to show you them all, but I'm going to show you one. This is Donkey Kong Kremling's Revenge. This is Donkey Kong Country. So basically what they did is they took Donkey Kong Country and they added some new levels. They changed the level design on. So if you ever played the original Donkey Kong Country, this is a hack to check out. You can buy the cart itself, fan-made carts, but if you have the flash cart, it makes it a little easier to play as well. This is one of my favorite. The original Donkey Kong Country is one of my favorite games for the Super Nintendo. I was just blown away at the graphics. But you'll see right now so far it's the same, but it is different. If you compare this to side by side to the original Donkey Kong, you'll see that there is actually a difference with this particular level and the original Donkey Kong Country. So pretty cool hack to check out. One of the better hacks for the Super Nintendo, in my opinion. Here's some other games. These are these are homebrew games. This is kind of cool. Some guy took images of Ralph McQuarrie. He's an artist for LucasArts back in the day with the original Star Wars trilogy and the other Star Wars movies, of course. And they're able to put it onto a ROM. So kind of cool. They actually scroll through here. You can't play it, of course. But here's another homebrew. This is basically a fan-made, the original Donkey Kong arcade on the Super Nintendo, which is cool. So Donkey Kong is one of my favorite arcade games out there. It's cool to finally play this on the Super Nintendo because I never saw a port. You'll notice that the rafters are actually green instead of red. But other than that, the music is a little different, of course. But other than that, it plays very similar to the original Donkey Kong game, which I think is pretty rad. Here is some prototype games. And this game is Congo. Actually, it was based on the movie, but it never came out. It was an unreleased game by Viacom and Visual Concepts, and it's actually a really bad game, but it looked like it was pretty far along. And I think they obviously canceled because the movie didn't do very well. But you'll see here that the first part of the game I could see how it would be kind of controversial. You're basically shooting these gorillas with a machine gun, and they're blowing up. And it says transmitting, and that's just the game. It's weird. It's kind of hard to play with it, like being flickery and stuff. That was intentional. The whole idea was, I guess, the gorillas were attacking your camera, and this is kind of a live feed. But I can see why this game was unreleased for sure, because I don't think PETA would appreciate blowing up gorillas necessarily. But there's some variety in this game as well. The second stage I'll show you here in a second is a lot different than this one, of course. So there's some cutscenes here. It tells you, kind of follows the movie for the most part. It's been a long time since I've seen Congo. But here's the second stage. Here in this raft. You can kind of see I actually really like the music in this particular stage, but you can see it's pretty far along. This is a control test thing as well. There's different things I have here. You can test the buttons for the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom in this case, but same thing, pretty sweet. Basically you have to hold down the certain buttons where it shows you, and you can kind of move forward. They had this for the NES as well that came out. You can actually get those cards. So usually, some of them are gray. Most times they're yellow. And there's various languages that have those. I'm going to show you an Italian game by a different language, Portuguese, German, French, all the ROMs on different languages. So if you ever want to play a game in Italian, you can play a game in Italian. So I just run across in Italian. So not really good for me because I don't speak Italian, but pretty sweet nonetheless. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this flash cart, this EverDrive, Super Nintendo EverDrive, available at StoneAgeGamer.com. I think it's really cool. I think it's very convenient. Let me know what some of your favorite Super Nintendo games are. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks as always, guys. Thank you for liking this video. Thanks for subscribing. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. And of course, game on. First off, guys, thank you so much for watching. Also, please subscribe. That means a lot. And if you want to stay in contact, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I also have a website, Gamester81.com, and I have t-shirts available that help support the show as well. And those are available at chopshopgoods.com.